update on some transfer news that's come out today. So the main headline today is that Fabio Vieira, the Arsenal player who was on loan at Porto last season, is linked to West Ham. I did a little bit of research on him and spoke to my mate who's an Arsenal fan and said, "Oh, what happened there? Like what what didn't quite work out there?" And he just said he was a little bit lightweight and wasn't quite the player that Arsenal needed. And obviously they signed Declan from us, and it sort of limited his opportunities. When I did some little bit of scouting about him, they said that he is a skillful ball control. He has intelligent movement, effective in scoring, creating goal scoring opportunities, and his dribbling can lead to turnovers. As I say, technically very gifted passer, has very good vision. One thing that it says he does need though is improvement in his defensive capabilities. And weaknesses are he loses the ball quite a lot in key areas. He's not effective in terms of pressing and moving and being a physical presence in midfield. But he's had an okay season at Porto. Again, I'm not against signing players from when it hasn't quite worked out at an Arsenal, City, or Liverpool. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad player. It just means you're not quite at that level, and you can, be easily shadowed. But when you come to a club like West Ham, who are sort of below that top 5 area, you can come and you can shine. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't know what sort of money Arsenal will be looking for him, but apparently Arsenal fans are. Again, I did some research on YouTube as well. You look on their fan channels, and about 2 or 3 months ago, one of their fan channels was saying he should be given another chance. So when you see Arsenal fans saying that, they must have seen something, and there must be, something there. It's more believable when you hear the fans say it, because they know it. We see it every week. People can. If people just watch Thomas Soucek every week on Match of the Day or Sky Highlights, you go, God, he's like Fellaini, scores loads of goals. Same with Fellaini. I used to watch Fellaini and go, oh, he's a great player. He is. He's no different to what Soucek is. He wasn't exceptional on the ball or anything like that. He was just an absolute nuisance and used to get on the end of goals without seeing the lack of mobility, the lack of passing. So who knows? I've not seen enough of Vieira to know. Some good news. It looks like Newcastle are going to sign Aaron Ramsdale. I know it went quiet anyway, but the fact that is now sort of out there in the news is good, because that means that West Ham are not going to sign him. It's either going to be Cooper or a Minison for me. I don't think we'll get that Suzuki guy. He seems, he's incredibly highly rated and will go on to be potentially one of the best goalkeepers in the world in the next sort of 5 to 6 years. So I think he's slightly out of our range. Apparently he wants to stay in Serie A anyway. So it is what it is. Just looking here, Grealish heavily linked with a loan move to Everton. So are we going to get in now? Are we going to try and sniff a deal in now? I do like Grealish. I do like him. And I think wherever he goes, whether it's Everton, West Ham, back to Villa, you will get a new Jack Grealish. I do. I could be wrong. But I believe he will come alive. He will be allowed to play how he wants to play. It won't be all system based and stuff like that. Like if you come to West Ham, I think Potter would be, clever enough to go, let's just let him do what he wants to do. Luke, what about Potts? Yeah, Potts, mate. I like Potts. I hope he doesn't. I hope he gets a chance to stay at West Ham. I do. I want him to be given a really good chance. Hopefully he starts tomorrow in the friendly. But we wait and see. What else did I read? There was something else here. So we're also linked with a Roma striker called Artem Dovbyk from Roma. Obviously, they've just signed Ferguson, so he's available. Again, I don't believe any of these ones. They're just easy rumours to make. McAtee, I believe Nottingham Forest have bid for him now, 23 million, I think it was. Good player, good player. I would like him to come in. Someone needs to come in, Elliott, McAtee, because we need more. We need more in midfield. Every channel, every West Ham fan can see that we're lacking massively in midfield, and we need to start moving on these midfielders as well now. I'm more optimistic about Pac-Man staying. As William says there, he says, "What do you think about Potts, Ferrin, and Pac-Man?" They're good. They're all good. They're all great players. I just don't think that's the mid. You can't rely on that midfield the whole season. I hope that by the end of the season and by maybe the midway point in the season, if we're in a decent run, we'll see loads of Ferrin and loads of Potts, and they get given a really good chance. But we can't rely on them, because if it does go wrong, the last thing I want is for their confidence to be knocked. What you need when you're a young player, you need a team that's doing well and can nurture you, and you can make your mistakes, and it's not as daunting. I think they're ready. I do think they're ready, and they can do no worse than Souček, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Rodriguez, whatever slow team you want to put out. I hope we get a chance. But yeah, I'm a little bit more optimistic about Paquetá. Obviously, stuff's come out. It's up to Potter. It's up to the player himself. Gonzo did a little video this morning and an article that I read where the club have basically spoke about midfielders, and they've said, but don't forget about Alvarez, don't forget Paquetá, which is also interesting. The fact that they mentioned their names. If you were really keen on selling them, they may not have dropped those names in, or they would have deflected it in a slightly different way. So yeah, I hope Paquetá stays. I'll be absolutely buzzing if he stays as well. What else was there? Just checking the headlines. Not much else out there, guys, today. Obviously, Patrick Kelly's left, one of the youth players. And there's just loads of rubbish. Apparently, Everton have now gone in front runners for Douglas Luiz, player that I really, really want. And I don't think they get Grealish and Douglas Luiz, but if they do, I tell you what, they're looking great already. It's the same as if West Ham get Harvey Elliott, keep Paquetá, and get Douglas Luiz as well. All of a sudden, your hope and your optimism goes up from what it is now. Robert Singleton says, where you play Alvarez. I'm not fully convinced he stays, though. I think he might be one that goes, but if he does stay, you pay him as the CDM destroyer, don't you? Who can sort of drop into centre back if needed. If Wan-Bissaka was playing, let's pretend that Wan-Bissaka was playing right centre back in a free, and you had Kyle Walker-Peters on the right wing. Alvarez can drop back in whilst Wan-Bissaka doubles up with Walker-Peters on that right-hand side and really creates a massive overload without being exposed at the back. I don't know. We'll see. There was another comment there. Bear with me. James Ward-Prowse has got to go, Luke. He is not for us, mate. He can only play. Yeah, no, mate. 100%. I'm not against you there, mate. I'm with you with that, mate. He offers nothing. He's Mark Noble with a tag around. He's Mark Noble with no passion, no love for the club, and occasionally puts in an okay corner. And has this aura around him that he's apparently this incredible set piece taker, but we haven't seen it in 2 years at West Ham. Yeah, one of them has to go. To keep Paquetá as well, one of Souček or Ward-Prowse has to go, and it has to be Ward-Prowse for me. Maybe Irvine goes as well, but even Irvine looked all right. He looks a little bit more of a doggy player. He's nothing exceptional, but he tries hard. He gets involved. He seems like he can move the ball pretty well. So, yeah, we'll see. I think there is going to be obviously more movement. Hey, Luke, think we should stay away from Vieira. Fernandes, Douglas Luiz, Elliott, Elkanous are the kind of players we need. Yeah, so obviously touched on Vieira right at the beginning of the video. Fernandes is an absolutely fantastic player with loads and loads of potential. I'd love to see him come in. Douglas Luiz, I've said about him. Elliot, you know my feelings. El Canoes, I like him, but he gives me a bit of Ben Rama vibes where I think he'll be really frustrating. I think you will have a really great performances and maybe some really great goals in there, but I think he could be a sort of Ben Rama style where he becomes really frustrating, as we did with Benny. Alves as a sweeper would be a good fit, Luke. He definitely would. Let me just log off my laptop. 2 seconds. Yeah, so that's about it really for today. There's not much else out there. We're friendly tomorrow against Everton, the Moyes derby. What do I want to see in that? Again, it's a friendly. I'm not too bothered about the result, even though it's always nice to beat Moyes. I just want to see him start the team that finished the game against Manchester United. I don't want to see that starting 11 again, that starting midfield again. Give me Potts, give me Paquetá. The young boys did enough to be given a real go. You know, Ferron looked incredible. Am I getting it right? Perron or Ferron? Sorry, I do apologise. I keep forgetting whether it's an F or a P. He looks sensational. Marshall looks great, but didn't even get a sniff, did he, in the second game? Didn't even get a chance to come on, which is ridiculous. Scored in 2 games, then didn't get to come on. You know, that's annoying. I don't like the 2 up front either. You know, play a system where Bowen is on the right and he can do what he needs to do. And really start trying to nail down what his first 11 is going to be, and start getting rid of the Ward-Prowse and the Součeks in the midfield. Use Souček as a box destroyer if you need him in the second half. But I want to see what Potts and that can do from the start. Not come in games and have to feed their way into games, even though they've done that really well. I want to see them start games. Let's see how effective they are from the start of games. Let's see if we look good and we get goals with players that can actually pop the ball about and, you know, good on the turn, a bit more physical, a bit more mobile. We'll see. Thanks, Luke, for a great show. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe if you're new around here. I'm going to leave it there. Like I say, I was only really going to come and just talk about some of the headlines today, nothing major. I'm going to try and do these as much as I can during the 6 weeks when I'm off, and it's harder when I go back to work, but I always do me preview, review, and any major news during that time. Thank you for all the views yesterday. We're gradually growing again. We're getting out there. But it's such a niche West Ham, you know, there's so many great channels out there. It's a real niche, and it's really hard to, you know, get out there, you know. Luke, the first 11 versus United is Potter's starting 11. Sadly, I agree with you, mate. Sadly, I agree that is the 11 you will see against Sunderland, the first game of the season. Anyway, come on, you irons, keep believing, hit that like button. Let's go.